Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is Jason with your Hopium Free Crypto channel. Now today I want to have a look at the major markets and give my thoughts on the rest of 2021, considering now that we've broken down below the 50% support zones which we've been watching. I want to give us an update and give you an idea of my thoughts about the market. So make sure you've hit the like button already, subscribe to the channel, bell notification icon, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, daily Q&As. Let's dive in. Before we dive in, quick reminder, the Investor Accelerator, TIA Lite, is launching very soon. The link to this is down below in the description. Make sure you got your name, email address, hit notify me so when this goes live, you guys are ready to be getting in. There's a huge discount for the first 500 people, and that is a lifetime discount as well. So make sure you've got your details ready down below so you can be notified. Now this is different to the Investor membership, the Investor Accelerator membership. Just wanted to make mention to that because some people were asking. The Investor Accelerator membership is the full product suite, all of the courses, the Facebook group, and is by far the best value. But if you're interested in just learning a little more and getting your feet wet, then definitely check this one out, the Investor Accelerator Lite, where we're giving you updates via video and weekly reports. So check it out, drop your details down below. It's coming out very soon. Let's start with the market capitalizations for our favorite cryptocurrencies. Now, the main thing we look at here is market cap, 1.32 trillion. Now, remember the point we were looking at was around that 1.33, 1.34 trillion dollars. At the moment, it's just slightly below that, and we have broken down a little, and we've come back to test that level. So that's what I want to have a look at in today's video and just give you my ideas about the market moving forward, because again, it's no surprise. Everyone believes we're in a bearish market. Some people even believe we've got a 3-year bear market ahead of us. I don't believe that we do have a 3-year bear market ahead of us. And there are also triggers which I would think that we may fall into a bigger bear market, but I haven't seen those yet. And I'll look at those on the chart in just a moment. The main thing I want to look at here is recap our market caps for our major cryptos. Bitcoin, 627 billion. Remember, just a couple of months ago, we were sitting around the 1 trillion, 1.3-ish trillion dollars. It was still sort of that 45% of the total market cap. But now we're sitting around 47%. Our theory here is that Bitcoin is going to increase, or at least continue to increase in dominance, and that's what's going to push the rest of the alts down. Now, Ethereum is at around 217, Cardano is at 41, still holding that top 5 position, and it's been holding out the strongest out of the rest of the cryptocurrencies. In terms of the dominance, Bitcoin is definitely showing that. Last 24 hours, it has risen 7%, and unless your cryptocurrency is doing more than 7.69%, then it is actually losing value against Bitcoin. All right, so everything apart from Solana, which is up, and Stellar, slightly more, basically a break even there in our top 20, even top 30 play. Everything else is getting destroyed, or at least losing value against Bitcoin. So that still rings true. Now let's have a look at our total market cap. So remember our 50% zones. This is total 2. So it's all of the cryptocurrencies except Bitcoin. Now this 50% here is at 765 billion. The last support zone is this area here. Now I'm not overly concerned with total 2 because this is made up of everything except Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, from my belief and the way I'm playing the market, is Bitcoin will lead first and the altcoins will follow. So I'm not going altcoin shopping. I don't think it's time to be buying altcoins just yet. I think this is the risky time. This is the time to be getting into Bitcoin, loading our positions there. So when Bitcoin rises and the altcoins continue to get crushed in their Bitcoin value, which they have done so far and have done throughout history, once Bitcoin reaches its peak, then we have a lot of Bitcoin to be putting back into alts. And we buy those alts at lower BTC prices and watch those alts rise and then take some profits and repeat the cycle. So here we are. These levels were broken down from the 50%. And the next levels are around that sort of $500 billion. I suspect this will probably go a bit lower. So that's my thoughts moving forward throughout 2021 for the altcoins. And, we've talked about that on the Bitcoin dominance. For the total market cap, including Bitcoin, now we're still trending close to the 50%. This is a major level in terms of support and resistance for, say, like a bullish market and a bearish market. And at the moment, we're slightly in the bearish sense, but it's not a market that has completely broken down past this level. Now, this is the last level of support I've got here on the chart. You guys can see that. It doesn't take a genius to see it. You can see it from around sort of that $840-ish billion level up to around 1 trillion. And so if we see a level start to break down, hit some support, which was old resistance, maybe a wick down into the 800s, 700s if we get really crazy, and then close back up to that 1.2 trillions, I'm still very, very comfortable with that because we're still trending very closely to our 50% of the range. And the other level, which is 50%, which is another, again, ranges resistance card, which we use, is 50% from the high. Now, I use the ranges resistance card more so rather than the highs resistance card because I use that in trading more. But our 50% level is at around 1.28 trillion. So as you can see, it's not that far off our 50% anyway. So 1.28, 1.33, it's only a couple of a percent. You can see there, it's about 3 to 4.5%. And so while this level remains intact and doesn't get broken down for months or weeks on end, I'm still very, very bullish for Bitcoin in particular, and of course the cryptocurrency market in general. So provided we're trading around this 50% level, it would be better to be above it and making ground. It's still not a worst case scenario. As I said, worst case scenario is a breakdown. A lot of value is lost out of cryptocurrencies. And for now, I'm still very strong on the market and I'm happy with this level. A spike down, a wick beneath these levels and back up is okay. A wick down and a close below it, not okay. That looks like a weaker market, but a wick down and break up, pretty good to go. So that's the total market capitalization. Yes, we've broken down past the 1.33 level, but we're pretty much a few percent away from that now. And so I'm not overly concerned. We'll obviously continue to track this with each video. Now, Bitcoin, I'm looking back at 2013. We've looked at timeframes for Bitcoin. So my thoughts on Bitcoin and the market for 2021, I maintain that I'm looking at least 3 months below the all-time high. I think we'll surpass that. That'll be middle of next month, will be 3 months beneath the April all-time high. And I'm looking at least sort of 6 to 9 months beneath that all-time high. And I assume we'll probably start to climb back up at some point later in the year, where maybe we'll see that earlier before the final signs of us breaking through. And I just look at 2013 as an example. It doesn't have to happen exactly like this. Look at the top to the low before we started to climb out. And that was down at around 75%. Not saying it's going to happen, but this is 3 months, 12 bars. This is a weekly chart. That's about 3 months, 1 week short of 3 months, okay? So that's going to be the same sort of time period into July. And strangely enough, it just so happens that the timeframes are very, very similar to what we're currently seeing. That top in 2013 was 8th of April. Our current top was the 14th of April, so just a week later. And so potentially we'll get this in around mid-July. We'll keep tracking it. It doesn't have to happen exactly the same, but it's just interesting to note that it had 3 months down to this low, and I'm not including these here. I'm just going to this major low because that was, for me, the way I see the chart, the turning point before we started to climb out of the low. So I'm using that one there. We've got some good volume, and looking at time frames from the high to where we broke out, that was 30 bars. So that's about, if I get my maths right, about 7 months. So 7 months before the breakout. Doesn't have to happen at 7 months. It's just a bit of a roadmap. Now, if you remember, another reason why I was looking at this being around 3 to 9 months beneath the current all-time high is that I was measuring the ranges. So this is measured from the COVID crash to the current all-time high, 57 bars. So 13 months, half of 13, 6.5 months. So I'm using a rough guide and just measuring ranges to give us a time frame of a potential break above the high. So I need to get a bit of a roadmap, give a bit of an idea of what's coming next. I'm not concerned. Time is looking good. Price is looking not too bad, actually. And the pattern is coming together. This is building towards that pattern of consolidating this low and building towards our 3, 6, 9 months beneath the all-time high, getting that low in before we can move up again. Now, there's a lot of talk about this market going to 20,000. Maybe we get into 19,000 or 18,000 into this previous resistance point, which lined up with the old all-time high before we took off. Some people even calling for a $12,000 or a $13,000 Bitcoin. There's no reason why it has to go there. We haven't even had a close in the 20,000s yet. It could come, but this whole rhetoric around the market having to fall and it must go to these levels before we take off again, The market doesn't have to do anything, and it won't do something that we expect it to do. So all in all, this is beginning to have some sort of consolidation. For me, it's still a little bit early to say that. Maybe we get a redistribution and another fall, but at the moment it's looking okay. And if I think back to January, if you weren't in the market then, this January, February period, this was the time that you had your Twitter guys, Elon Musk's, etc., talking about buying Bitcoin. And we had some spike days from tweets in around that mid to late January of talking about buying Bitcoin. So it's just a nice reminder that only about 5 months ago, it was the talk of the town to be buying Bitcoin. And we get turns around this 21st to 25th of many months. So this sort of late-ish period. We got May 19th, we got June 21st, we had a turn at January 18th, couple of days later, we had another turn in February, we had turns in April. So these are the really stronger points here. March, this sort of time in the market tends to turn it short-term or long-term turns. You can see this had a little turn here and we moved back up to the highs, another move up, and then we had another fall here and a move up. So I'm just looking out for those little time frames between that sort of 18th-ish and 23rd area as a turn. So we could move up here for a few days, watch everyone get extremely bullish as we get 36, 38, 40 grand, whatever it is, they'll go crazy. It could go up to 45 and it still doesn't mean a hell of a lot, right? We need to see the market build support levels on the way up. So that's my outlook for Bitcoin. That's what I'm seeing right now. I'm still bullish. Call me an idiot, call me a fool, whatever you want. That's why I'm still buying it. But in terms of buying, it's just Bitcoin. I'm not out there doing altcoin shopping and all this other stuff to blow funds. It's almost as if some YouTubers talk as if people have unlimited funds. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a better idea to be a little more strategic with how we're buying. And if you're interested in that, go and check out yesterday's video about buying all of the dips and how that actually works. Now, if we have a look at ETH, it's kind of on a similar path, but I think it could go down a little further. We do have these bigger moves down like we saw in July of 2017. So we had a 70% fall through that area. Then we had a 6 month sideways. Similar sort of thing at the moment. We're getting closer to our 70% fall, which would bring us out to about $1,200-$1,300 and line us up with that old all-time high and the spike lows before we took off in February. And it's just kind of a nice round time there at 70%, like we've seen it before. We're looking at, again, 12 weeks, potentially 6 to 9 months out. And this might take a little longer to break through the all-time high as well, but again, no problems here. I'm happy to be buying it at lower levels once I see Ethereum and the rest of the altcoins base out against their BTC value. So if you don't remember what that is, here's the BTC value, and we're continuing to see it fall against Ethereum, fall against its Bitcoin value. So I need to be waiting it out here, be patient with blowing our Bitcoin. Let's just keep looking at Bitcoin at this stage. One final thing I want to leave with is the cycles themselves. Does this have to be a 4-year cycle? No. Does it have to be a $300,000 Bitcoin by a September or later date this year? No. Does it have to be a top next year? No. Of course, you might get the idea of the answer now. None of this has to do anything. And for someone to be calling the market to do something just shows their lack of understanding of how markets work. A market doesn't do something just because someone yells at it and tells it to do something. It's just a good idea to play the market, how it's happening at the moment, and then have a bigger, broader picture of what it's done in the past and still be flexible in that view. On that, I'll leave you with just a reminder, Investor Accelerator Lite, check it out. Sign up down below if you want to get in for the first 500 people, which get a lifetime discount, a solid lifetime discount. Leave your details down below. You'll be notified when we are about to launch. If you want to get the full featured version with all of the course content and our Facebook group to learn from, go and check out the Investor Accelerator now. The membership, still $7.99 before it goes up. So make sure you get into that now. And that would be lifetime at the lower rate as well. Finally, for the Aussie guys, if you want to get your superannuation into crypto, make sure you go and book your free call with New Brighton Capital before end of financial year. Go and book that in, $300 free credit when you use Pazino as you're checking out. So check that out there. Guys, I'll leave that with you tonight, and check out Twitter, Instagram for daily Q&As. Catch you at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.